Good evening. Welcome to the August work session of the City of Hiram City Council. Cliff, you want to get us started?
Let us pray. Father, now in Jesus' name, we come saying thank you. We bless you. We give you praise, glory, and honor. We thank you, Father, that you've kept us through the night and brought us to this day and to this very moment. Father, now, as always, I pray your wisdom, your knowledge, lead your elected and appointed officials for the business of this municipality. We thank you now, Father. In Jesus' name, I pray with faith believing. Let us all say amen.
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 Let's all stand.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Cliff.
Yes, sir.
The City of Hiram hereby opens a public hearing regarding application number 2025-03-Z. City of Hiram, made by Blue River Development, proposing to rezone approximately 50.32 acres from B1, B2, and R4 to MXD mixed-use development. The properties are in the land lots 663, 664, 669, and 670, District 19, Section 2, along the north and south sides of Windy Bagwell Parkway, Highway 278, east side of Poplar Springs Farm Road and east of Bill Caruth Parkway. The full procedures for this hearing were made public at the front desk up here if anyone has any questions. Mr. Jose?
Thanks, Cliff. All right, we could start that PowerPoint. That would be fantastic. Thank you very much. Good evening, Mr. Mayor. My name's Rob Hosack, and I am here on behalf of Blue River Development this evening to present information related to our application for annexation and rezoning into the city of Hiram. Next slide, please. A little bit of background, as you had stated in your introductory remarks, Mr. Mayor, 50-plus acre tract that we are looking to do an assemblage development on that would provide for mixed use on the north and south sides of US 278 west of Isley Stamper Road. Wanted to mention in our background remarks, the location provides for some very unique access to the Silver Comet Trail, as well as meeting all of the requirements of the recently adopted mixed-use district that was adopted in December by mayor and council. Next slide, please. This basically provides an uncolored site plan just to give everybody an idea of the layout and the access points. Next slide, please. And this other background slide here, Mr. Mayor, just provides some information related to the joint comprehensive plan that the Paulding County Board of Commissioners prepared in conjunction with the city of Hiram. This particular map provides for the character areas that were established along this section of US 278. We believe that does indicate and is one of the reasons that we received a favorable recommendation from the Paulding County planning staff, their planning commission, as well as the city of Hiram professional staff in their analysis as well. Next slide, please. Another little bit of background information. When cities and counties provide or prepare short-term work programs as part of their comprehensive plans, they're often asked to identify certain desires, measures, goals, and objectives. We thought in this particular instance, this slide, which came from the adopted comp plan, Bipalding and Hiram, does basically show the importance that the city and the county have placed on finding alternative funding to develop connections to the Silver Comet Trail. And we feel like this particular proposal and its requisite requirements within the mixed-use district provide for a cost-free alternative as to providing a meaningful and dedicated connection to the Silver Comet Trail at no risk or at no cost to the taxpayers. So again, we're going to be able to assist the city in reaching one of its goals as far as establishing connections to the Silver Comet Trail. Next slide, please. I did want to mention, as part of our background slide, we are proposing 319 owner-occupied single-family dwelling units, some attached, the majority attached, some detached. This yields an overall density for the project at 6.34 units per acre. We did want to highlight, we have 10 acres of proposed commercial space. The ordinance only requires 4, but we have found that there is significant interest, particularly in a mixed-use scenario such as what we are proposing. And so we are proposing at least 49,000 square feet of commercial on those 10 acres. Did want to mention also, we have 5.5 acres that we have set aside per the terms of the mixed-use district for a civic use. That's in 2 different locations of the property, one being roughly 2.5 acres, the other being roughly 2.5 acres as well. Next slide, please. These next couple of slides actually I wanted to provide you just an example of some of the quality that we envision being developed in the residential components. The next slide, please. This is a little closer view of how we also envision the street view looking, particularly on the inside of our development as it fronts US 278 on the south and north sides. And then finally, this other slide here, next slide please, is just an idea of the streetscape and the scale and the building materials related to the proposed commercial development that we have included as part of this particular application. Next slide, please. Wanted to go over just a couple of things. We believe and we're proud at Blue River to be committed to trying to be a good neighbor and a good partner. I think we have exhibited that through the fact that we have set aside over 5 acres of property for a partnership or civic use with the city of Hiram. This acreage, and a large portion of it, is very usable property in a very visible location. So it's not like we are providing an opportunity to partner with the city on property that is unusable. Actually, it is, Chad, there's my engineer. We're actually proposing acreage that is meaningful, stands out, is very visible, and very accessible from all points of the proposed community, and particularly along US 278. Did want to mention also, Blue River does things a little differently in that there has been much pre-engineering already done as part of the due diligence factor. And when I say pre-engineering and due diligence, there has actually been an aquatic resource delineation that's already been completed by the applicant. There's been an environmental assessment. There's been a geotechnical report. There has been a traffic study. There's been an ALTA survey and, tidal search. There has been a water and sewer availability and capacity analysis prepared. They have actually gone out and cited all of the trees. There's an existing tree plan that's already prepared for the property. And then finally, we've also done some things that have helped us engage with our neighbors along the northern property line, and I'll provide a little bit more specific detail to that particular arrangement a little further into the presentation. Finally, on this, as far as consistency with the joint comp plan, We did want to mention that there are a number of objectives that we can accomplish by bringing this particular mixed use forward. Encouraging smart growth, preserving natural resources, enhancing connectivity, supporting economic development, improving housing diversity. All of those things are stated objectives by both the county and the city of Hiram in its plan document, and we feel like this particular proposal, as presented, would help provide consistency with that joint plan. Next slide, please. We have also listed a couple of other things, maintaining zoning integrity, protecting community character, enhancing public space, greenway and pedestrian connections, and regulating density and expansion. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Finally, and those last couple of slides, I had decided to kind of forego simply because they were just reiterating policies and objectives in your comp plan that we believe our application is consistent with. What I would like to do with my remaining time is talk about 4 specific issues: stormwater management, buffers, school impacts, and traffic impacts. As far as stormwater management impacts go, please be assured that there will be a very robust, legally defensible, monitored environmental stormwater control plan that will be reviewed by the professional staff. Zoning, by its nature, is conceptual. It shows you where the lots are going to be, it shows you where the access points are going to be, but it is conceptual. It does need to address certain things, Zoning Procedures Act. It has to look at the impacts on adjoining properties, but it has been basically reviewed by 3 different folks: Paulding County professional staff, Planning and Zoning Commission of Paulding County, and the Hiram professional staff. All 3 are recommending approval, but please know that if this conceptual plan is approved, there's still a lot of heavy lifting. But we would need to know where the lots are going to be, where the access points are going to be, where the ponds are going to be, where the buffer zones are going to be, so we can finalize this stormwater plan. But the plan will be finalized, it will be complete, it will be robust, and the law requires that, both at the federal level, state level, and local level. Did want to take a moment to mention buffers. We have had some pretty good conversation with the Poplar Farms subdivision. Originally, we were showing a 15 to 20 foot buffer that would retain some trees, replant others where the trees were not as healthy as they could be, or there was going to be a sparse or not a fully screened buffer. We have talked with the Poplar Farms folks, and we are prepared to increase that buffer to 25 feet. But more importantly, I think there would be a fence established along the entire joint property line, and that 25 foot, that would basically be almost the length of the property. There are some special arrangements that we would have with one lot. All of the buffer areas that we'll discuss tonight, we feel like it is better protection to put those in the name of the HOA and not have them individually owned. I can't tell you how many times in a former life where there'd be a buffer, everybody was happy, and then a new owner took ownership of the property and knocked down all the trees because they're like, I own the property, I should be able to knock everything down. We feel like by taking the buffer and putting it into an HOA with the requisite covenant protections, that will be the best way to make sure that the replanted and re-landscaped buffer remains a green belt in perpetuity, particularly as it relates to the joint property line that we share with lots 72 through 81 of the Poplar Farm subdivision. Did want to mention briefly, there have been some discussions, I think, at the Planning Commission level about the impact on schools. We have volunteered to make a $500 per lot contribution to the Paulding County school system. This isn't to fund a brand-new school. That's the Paulding County Board of Education's job. They have a SPLOST that's very active, very well-funded right now, that has been earmarked for new schools. But when you take into account that they are anticipating 118 potential new students as the result of this particular development, we felt like it was important that we offered up a figure that would help offset the cost of providing new classrooms if and when they ever get to 100% capacity. I did want to mention there are some things that can affect whether or not a school is going to be at capacity. Some folks want to send their kids to private school. Some folks homeschool their kids. Lot size and number of bedrooms can have an effect. In general, I think the Paulding County staff was using a 0.40 unit projection as far as what the school impact would be. The $500 that we are volunteering represents the cost to the school district minus the SPLOST funds that they have put away and minus the state funds that are available for education. And then honestly, sometimes projects don't come online for 3 to 4 years after an approval. And so students may have moved out of elementary to middle, middle to high, high school to college. That can fluctuate and be related to impacts to development. As far as traffic impacts go, I did want to mention there are certain safety nets in place right now. The Paulding County DOT, rightfully so, has identified a number of improvements via the traffic study that we submitted. None of the residential proposed accesses Poplar Springs Road. It's strictly commercial. Did want to point out that in the traffic study, there was commercial shown on Poplar Springs. There will be a right turn lane, left turn lane storage to comply with what the traffic study dictates, which is ultimately there needs to be, pardon me, I'll finish, Madam Clerk, in 1 minute. I wanted to read into the record a
Mr. Hosak,
proposed,
your time is complete, 15 minutes. Unless the
Thank you,
council
Ron.
wants to make a motion to add additional time, that's within the discretion of the council. If you so choose, you need to add that to the opponent's side as well. If you want to do it, you'd have to do it by motion, second, and a vote, and designate how much additional time.
Mr. Hozak, are you done?
I can submit this for the record, Mr. Mayor, and that would save me
That'd be
reading
great.
something into the record. I'm
Thank you.
happy to provide this to the clerk. Thank you for your time and attention, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone in attendance at the public hearing wishing to speak in opposition, on behalf of the opposition to zoning applications that are on the agenda must be recognized by raising their hand and will be asked to state their name and place of residence and then sign, you've already signed in. The person recognized to speak will be allowed to speak on any point relevant to the application being considered. Proponents and opponents will be given a maximum of 15 minutes each to present their views. The mayor may request representatives on each side to speak for the entire group. If more than one speaker represents a group, the 15 minutes will be divided among the various speakers. Speakers are encouraged to refrain from presenting information that has been previously stated by others. In no case, however, shall any group be allowed more than the allotted time, no matter how many speakers represent the group unless extended by the city council. So do we have someone that wants to speak in opposition to the project? Your name?
Ed Pulaski,
Where do you live?
171 Saddle Horse Lane.
Okay.
I'd like to, can I ask a few questions of the council pertaining to the mixed
No,
development
we're
area?
just here to hear your view.
Pardon me?
We're here to hear your opinion.
Oh, okay, all right.
I will answer a question. I think as
This
council.
is-
Is that if they need to
This is a
ask me
time for
question?
public input from a public hearing.
Okay,
If he has questions, he can ask them. Whether or not they're answered by staff after the
Okay.
public hearing is a different matter.
Okay. So this is a rezoning, public hearing, and, so our concern was, you're moving from business and residential to a mixed development that was, I believe, formulated in the last year or so. And, the question, for me arises, why did Hiram adopt, a mixed development area for zoning? And, I guess my question is, was it for revenue? Is it a revenue-driven decision? And if it's a revenue-driven decision, does the revenue that comes in offset the cost that you're gonna have with police, fire, school, and those public services that are provided? And the other, I think the other, another part of this for the community in Poplar Farms, which I'm a part of, is the traffic. And I would ask, have the board, have the council members had a chance to look at this traffic study to see the impact of that area. Like many, I drive it every day, and multiple accidents at that intersection of Wendy Bagwell and Bill Caruth. The traffic backs up far past where this development is going to be put in. And to add over 300 and some homes with a minimum of 2 cars per home, for us, that is going to be painful, and would like you to take that in consideration. I have submitted the petition from Poplar Farms. I talked with all the people that live on Saddle Horse Lane that this development is going to back up against. And our concerns, as on the petition, was stormwater management, because a few of us have had issues with stormwater crossing over, onto our properties from this said property. We feel that at first proposed, it was an inadequate buffer. Also feel that this is a single-family dwelling community, and now you're putting in a multi-dwelling community up against it, and we feel there should be a buffer between the two. There are two different styles of residence, and of course, like stated in the petition, also is about the impact of the police, the amount of school children, and the fire protection. Would it be adequate? And have you all seen the petition? Yes. Okay.
May I ask?
That's all I have.
Sir, when we were all down there and we met with you and your wife and a couple other of the neighbors, excuse me, and you went with Rob because of the concern of the stormwater runoff and the fact that some of those units there flood, correct?
Yep.
They were giving you a solution. If this is denied, what is your solution to stop the flooding? If they don't do it, what do you guys plan on doing?
See, I don't believe I have to have a solution for the flood waters that come from another property.
No, but what I'm saying is, Rob had explained it to you guys of how they were going to help eliminate the flooding to your units. Am I correct?
Well, when we went back there with the engineer was glad that she went back there, because what was on paper wasn't what exactly everything that she was seeing while being back there. And she she made note of it and said, I gotta go back and make sure we understand how this water is running back here.
Okay, because when you guys came out, it sounded like there was a possible solution, so I wanted to clarify for myself
Correct.
also.
Yeah, well, when we came out of there, they said they would forward us information after that meeting, and we received none. For the
bounces
stormwater
back to you.
management.
Okay, that bounces back to you.
Anything else?
No, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. How much time do we have left?
11:35.
Does anyone else wish to speak? Ma'am, your name and where you from?
Michelle Lockhorst, 161 Center Street. There was a little confusion about whether we were talking about trading and Blue Water Day, but I think there's a little confusion about whether, you may pull it closer, whether it's trading or Blue Water we talk about tonight, but I think the facts still stand no matter which development we're talking about. First, thank you for letting me speak tonight. My family and I have lived in downtown Hiram for over 30 years. I attended the town hall meeting and was hoping to hear that what the development would do for our town. But all I heard was the sound of money falling into the pockets of the developer. There were many concerns and no positives. The concerns were traffic, the response time of police and fire, and the overload on our already overcrowded school system. All three of these concerns go hand in hand. If this land was to be rezoned and the developer builds 279, now we're adding whatever that becomes, about 600 units.
These are two different projects.
I know, but
We're
it's all.
We're here to talk about, we're here to talk about.
But this would double the amount of people
Ma'am,
in the
we're here to
area,
talk about Blue
maybe
River this
triple it
evening.
with the Blue Water, within maybe about 5 miles of the downtown radius of downtown Hiram. Traffic will be a nightmare. Our police and our firefighters, will they be able to navigate through all this traffic and respond to emergencies in an adequate amount of time? Will our children be successful in overcrowded schools? And will they be safe during storms and, God forbid, an intruder while they are sitting in a trailer? I am not against progress, but we need to take a pause and consider having smaller developments. Do we want this size development to become the norm? Let's have single-family affordable homes. $300K is not affordable. We need to be thinking about the future of our young families that want to buy homes, but they cannot afford because of the greed of these developers and their subdivisions. We need to be encouraging young families to come into our community, and they deserve to have affordable homes with a yard, even if it's a small yard, to raise their family. I would like to thank Blue Water for being very clear on their storm drainage, their affecting traffic and all that. You did a really good presenting that, and I do appreciate that. But the traffic is the number one concern, and it goes hand in hand with all the other schools and firefighters and police. And we need to think about our community first instead of padding the pockets of developers. Thank you.
Thank you. Time?
8:53.
Ma'am?
My name is Lee Claiborne, I'll come up there. To back up Mr. Pulaski and this lady, sorry, as far as traffic, I left my home on Saddle Horse Lane, I don't know if it's Wednesday or Thursday last week, at 7:45, to be at work in Smyrna at 8:30. There were 20-plus cars turning left onto 278 off Poplar Farms. I'm sorry, off Poplar Springs. I turned right and did a U-turn up there at Metromont and beat about 10 of those cars. That's bad. I mean, it's not that way every single day, but probably Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are the worst days on Poplar Farms to turn left. I don't understand it, but it's what it is, and it's going to make it that much worse. Nobody's going to be able to get out of there to turn. So, that's just my little bit of input, not a whole lot, but it's what I see every day of my work life, Monday through Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You want to read that?
Sure, I'll read it. The mayor asked me to read this. We've received letters for and against. And this one is the next generation, to add to some of your stuff. Dear Hiram City Council, I am a proud, lifelong Hiram resident and a South Paulding High School graduate. Growing up here, I've always viewed Hiram as the perfect city that blends the comfort of suburban living with ease access to Atlanta and the destinations like the Battery. Having recently graduated from college and graduate school, I know that I will be searching for my first home in the coming years, and Hiram is at the top of my list. As a realtor, I also see firsthand the growing demand from people of all ages, young professionals, families, and retirees who want to live in a thriving communities on the outskirts of Atlanta like Hiram. However, while searching for potential homes for myself, I noticed a gap. Many of us, especially young adults, want to be part of a new developments that offer modern, comfortable living while providing access to community assets such as the Silver Comet Trail. In addition, as someone with a master's of public health, I recognize how vital walkability and trails are to the social determinants of health and how they contribute to making communities like Paulding County healthier and more livable. These proposed developments present an incredible opportunity for me and countless other young residents who grew up here and want to stay. It also attracts new residents who desire the vibrancy of connectivity, active communities. Developments like this can provide a lifestyle similar to the Beltline without this steep price tag of living inside Atlanta. While I understand there is opposition, I firmly believe this development would bring far more positive than negatives. Positives such as economic growth, increase of local tax revenue, enhanced amenities, and property values increase. But most importantly, it will give young people a reason to remain in Hiram rather than relocating to other, more developed communities. Most importantly, it represents a vision for the future, ensuring that the next generation of Hiram residents can grow, thrive, and invest in the community we love. I urge you to vote in favor of considering not just today, but the Hiram of tomorrow, the city we all want to see flourish for generations to come. That's from the next generation.
And the other letter we got was the Pompey Farms.
I'm not reading all that. Somebody else can
Mr.
read the
Mr.
Pompey
Mayor?
No,
Farms.
the other one.
Oh.
He just
Mr. Mayor,
spoke.
and I apologize, just for housekeeping clarity, I wanted to make sure you check the crowd to make sure that there's not any additional speakers wishing to speak in opposition.
How much time do we have left?
There is 7 minutes and 48 seconds left.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak in opposition? Yes, ma'am.
Rosalind Zito. Good evening, Council. Good to see you again on a different subject this time. Okay, I live across the street at Walton Mills, and I'm really concerned about all this traffic that is going to occur in our area. God knows it's hard enough for us to get out of where we live right now. Have you ever tried getting out of McAllister's restaurant and getting onto 278 without waiting for 10 or 15 minutes till traffic subsided? It's unbelievable. There's too much traffic. You know that line is backed up past the governor's gun shop there. I mean, it's always backed up. Everything's always backed up. There's too much traffic. You want to approve almost 300 homes here. You want to approve 300 homes
over on Rosedale. I mean, my God, come on. There's so much. I mean, our schools will not be able to handle this at all. At all. I mean, can you picture Hiram Elementary with over 600 new families in town from Rosedale and from this development? I mean, traffic and schools are our biggest what we need to improve, you know, and I really don't see any value in this at all. I thought this area was supposed to be for the Lidl store that came in, was supposed to come in. It was approved business and Lidl was supposed to come in and be here. And now we're talking about almost 300 new communities. Well, you know, it'd be great if they were for low-income families and for seniors who can afford it, rather than having it over $300,000 per person, per family. Low income, senior housing, we don't have it here. I think Walton is probably the only place in town that has it. And I'm proud to be at Walton. I love Walton. But if I could afford something, I would afford it, but I can't. And low-income families need places that they can come to enjoy this beautiful city of Hiram, which I enjoy right now. And I thank you for your time. Thank you.
Time?
5 minutes and 16 seconds.
We have 5 minutes. Anybody else speaking in opposition?
Hello, I'm Helena Williams. I live right here on Main Street. And I don't have a problem with growth at all. I don't. My concern is why don't we focus on, I know we're not responsible, but focus on getting 92 finished, completed through, and then look at other projects that may affect traffic. You all know it's a nightmare. I don't know how close you live around here, but it's absolutely ridiculous. And by adding those homes, either place is going to cause big problems. Yeah, we've already got semis coming down these roads. I mean, it's ridiculous. You know, I don't know if I need to do videos and send them to you or whatever, but I think the council's to look at something could be later on, after 92 is completed, and then see how the traffic flow is. See if that helps improve things, and then look at other projects. Thank you for your time.
My name's Wanda Pulaski, and I live at 171 Saddle Horse. Yes, we met with multiple members, and we met with Rob and the engineers, and we appreciate their time, and we met with Rob again. I think they want to work with us, but my concern, just like everyone else has said, like this, is the number of homes going in. Because we're doing townhouses. Can we do single-family homes? Then we do not have as many people going into that small area. The same, and I know the Rosedale is the same issue. We're putting townhomes in. Is it because it's more affordable? But if we went to single-family homes, we're not going to have as much of an increase in traffic, as much on the schools. And I just feel that Hiram, Paulding County as a whole, is growing so fast that they cannot keep up. Cobb County has done that. They have grown so fast that the superintendent has told them, do not approve any more subdivisions. We cannot handle the children. And that's what's happening here. We are growing too fast. We need to slow down a little bit and really listen to the people who live here. I know you all live here. I don't know where everyone lives. You have to live in the city of Hiram. I do not live in the city of Hiram, which is unfortunate, but my property goes against the city of Hiram. And because of the mixed use now, we're going to have retail, which is truly what that area is for. That's a retail corridor. But now we're put townhomes. 200 townhomes, and then we're gonna put single-family homes behind those. And I think the single-family homes are just to appease us, so we don't have townhomes up against us and we have two different types. But I really think, can we look at single-family homes as opposed to all the townhomes that are being proposed? Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Can I ask one question of Doris?
Sure.
Mr. Mayor, this is
letter
not a
you read-
Q&A session. This is a public hearing,
Well-
receiving public comment.
Public hearing, you've made
What's
your
the
point
point?
I
already.
talked to you afterwards.
The person that wrote that letter, do you have their name and address?
Ma'am.
Because we had to put
Ma'am.
ours out.
Ma'am. Ma'am.
And if I had to put my
Mr.
name
Mayor.
and address out, then that person's name and address needs to be on there too.
I can talk to you after the meeting.
All right, the public hearing is
Hold
now
on,
closed.
Hold on. We still have a couple of minutes for opposition, and there are letters of opposition that I would like to share with names on it and addresses. May I? Sorry, working with vintage body parts, hold on. Okay, so I received one this afternoon and printed this out, so let's go 8/20/86 at 10:58 a.m. I don't want to say this person's name. Good morning, my name is, I live on Rosedale Drive in Hiram. I'm responding to your text about the proposed mixed-use development in our beloved home in Hiram. Text meaning she meant Facebook. I'm very disappointed that the Hiram Council would ever consider this proposal. I listened to your video, but it didn't sound like you were in opposition. I'm saddened. We have lived in our home for 46 years. We live on Social Security and cannot afford to move even if we wanted to. Our church is here, our doctors, pharmacy, banks, and comfortable surroundings are here. I don't have to express the problems with the traffic, school, fire, and water. I have a friend who had a stroke about a year ago. No ambulance service. A 10-year-old boy at our church died in December while waiting for an ambulance. You said in your video that our voice matters. I certainly hope and pray that it does. And the follow-up was, I am reaching out to you again to ask you to please vote no on the new developments in Hiram and the Blue River development. We came to the meeting on the 18th, but we will not be able to come to the one tonight. I only have your number and Tiffany Carroll's. I did text Tiffany. Everything that was said at the meeting on the 18th was valid, plus so very much more that wasn't expressed. They said they would work on the infrastructure, but even if and when they do, with that many more people, cars, children in schools, it would be obsolete. My daughters live in Rockmart. It's all open out there. They would love to have someplace to go eat about going to Rome. And it wouldn't destroy the hometown feel to Hiram. Please, Melissa, and don't let it happen. So that was in opposition. And there's several more, but I know we don't have time to share both sides.
Jason, I'm sorry, can I ask if our project manager has any feedback?
Sure, I think if the receipt of public comment is concluded, any questions that the council has of staff or to the applicant or to any particular individual is clearly authorized.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, is there any more public comment?
No more public comments.
Well, I would like to call our project manager, Cliff McGrady, and see if he can provide any feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. The number one issue, well, not one of the top issues, is the stormwater. Every project or bill that happens in city limits, the city of Hiram is directly responsible for managing and make sure stormwater is managed on every bill, whether it's a single house or a development such as this. I am fully aware of the problem that is happening on Poplar Farm subdivision, because city manager and I were out there 3 years ago, I believe, maybe even more, when that initial flooding happened. It is on a piece of low-lying, undeveloped land that the water runs off and floods several of the residences. In the meeting that was referenced that we had out there with the Pulaskis and some others, the walk back there, Ms. Debbie, that you mentioned, they saw and made some adjustments. And I do want to say that the concept plan is not in stone, because we will make sure, the city of Hiram will make sure, myself and also Jody as well, second set of eyes, and Paulding County will make sure that the water that is on that property will be moved and channeled to where it's supposed to go, not where it's freely going now. The traffic study that came along with this project is going to add on Poplar Farms Road a dedicated turning lane and 2 dedicated pass-through lanes and a right turn lane coming from Poplar Farms onto 278. I happen to live in Poplar Farms as well, so I am fully aware of what it's like trying to make a left turn out of there and waiting for another left turn to make on 278. This traffic study was submitted to Paulding County. Again, I'm not an engineer. It was approved by Paulding County and the other infrastructure, water and utilities. Those were submitted to Paulding County, and this is the normal process that is happening, that when a project comes through, Paulding County gets it. Paulding County makes sure there's sewer. Paulding County makes sure there's water. Paulding County, again, all these engineers, make sure the traffic study is acceptable. So when it gets to us, again, I say the only thing we make sure, the city of Hiram makes sure, is of the stormwater movement. And this project will not go forward unless that stormwater problem into Poplar Farm subdivision is corrected.
What time of day was the traffic survey taken?
Mr. Hozak can answer that question.
Not,
I'm sorry, I don't.
not Q&A.
Thank you, Cliff.
Thank you, Cliff. Okay, the public hearing is now closed.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
If I can just add one comment. I know there's been a lot of questions asked. Public hearing's now over. The council's not voting on it until next week. If any of the citizens who have questions that were raised at the public hearing want to speak with staff or whomever after the meeting's over, I think we'd all be glad to try to answer those questions as best we can.
Correct.
May I ask one question to the developer? Rob Hosak, great quality product. Just wanted to know what the timeline, I learned of this product late last year. How long has this project been in the works?
That's a great question. Thank you, Councilperson Byardell. But we've probably had it under contract for a year. We've been pre-engineering it for a year. As far as our project schedule goes, we believe that it will probably take us 6 to 8 months to get through permitting. With Paulding County, their reviewers looking at all the different aspects, some of which Cliff had mentioned. But if I would say 6 to 8 months, probably another 9 to construct the infrastructure. So vertical construction is probably 2 years off. As when I mention vertical, councilperson, I'm talking about the bricks and the sticks, the houses and whatnot. So I would say we're probably 2 years out from
Okay.
the.
And how long has this partnership, how long have you been working with the city on this?
Well, I
I learned about it recently, like I said, November last year.
Yes, ma'am, and that's about the time, I think, councilperson, we had approached the city, went through a review by the Paulding County Planning Commission for a text amendment. Ultimately, that text amendment was adopted by mayor and council in December of 2024. So I would say that the work on the mixed-use district probably started 3 months prior to November, so roughly August maybe, September. And we worked through some different iterations of a draft, tried to address all of the concerns that the city had told us would be issues that they would be interested in trying to solve. Most importantly, a way to make sure that There are no infrastructure costs or maintenance costs that would be borne by the city. Thus, the reason we are proposing all of the roads, sewer, water, detention, all that's going to be privately owned and maintained. And we have a mechanism by which, if there is a concern that Cliff notices, or Mr. Palmer, or let's say one of the mayor and council are out driving around and they say something that they believe is a violation within the community, there will also be an HOA set up with requisite response times to address problems that are brought to them by the city. Particularly, there needs to be instruments put in place that allow for the city to notify Blue River and the management company or the HOA, hey, we've got issues here, you need to address these. We're getting some complaints about the detention pond appears to be unkept. It's not being mowed. We need for you to let us know that's going to be addressed in a time frame that'll be addressed. I think the other thing that we have put into place or are obligated to put into place are mechanisms also to address any concerns that Chief Turner might have as it relates to public safety. Because at the end of the day, I think the city wisely opted out of allowing any type of apartments in a mixed-use district. And I'll be the first to say, I tried. Yeah, you have to ask. You have to be told no. But the city was very firm. Particularly the staff, and we received clear and concise direction. We're not interested in apartments. What we are interested in are new types of development that have meaningful connections, that are interconnected through trails, sidewalks, roadway connections, alternative access points. And so that's kind of what we focused on, and ultimately I think that's what got adopted by the city. It was drastically different than where we started, but I think that was the council's job, is to weed out the things that have bit the city in the past and are negatives. And so that's kind of where we landed, councilperson.
Now, you mentioned safety. Did you contact any of the local enforcement agencies to find out what the response time would be with the additional traffic?
No, ma'am, we did not contact any of the, I believe that during the review, the Paulding County review, when it was distributed to the interdepartmental review committee that they use to assess whether or not there's an impact, we were not advised of any potential response time issues. I will say, in the interest of full disclosure, there was one planning commissioner that was very interested in trying to get us to agree that the property that we were going to set aside to use jointly as civic space with the city of Hiram, they were like, well, can we put a police station there instead, or could we put a fire station there? And I said, and I had to answer, don't believe that's your place. This would be something eventually that was going to be decided by the city of Hiram and its mayor and council. So that was really the only indication, councilperson, was concerned that, hey, could we put a fire or police station on that particular property we were setting aside for civic use. Now, that being said, we're happy to work with the city if that's where the city would like to go. But I believe that we were informed that the response time was pretty good, because I think a couple of weeks ago when we were on site visiting, somebody had mentioned that they had called an emergency response vehicle and it was there within a 3 to 4 minute time period.
So basically 18 to 24 months before you could move any dirt?
No, ma'am. Mayor Pro Tem, I would say 8. Well, yes, you are correct. 6 to 8, possibly 10 before we can move any dirt.
Okay. And the project totally completed, what, 4 to 5 years?
By the time the build out occurs, 4. Yes, ma'am, but I don't expect any of the vertical construction to start for 2 years.
You mentioned in your presentation up to 5 acres for civic use for the city. How's that? I haven't heard anything about it. So-
There are two areas.
Everybody, you guys okay?
He's already discussed that once before, but go ahead,
I saw
Rob.
it in the presentation, and I'm sure our citizens in here, and I don't know about it. so I
There
wasn't-
are, one of the requirements in the new mixed-use district, I think a good requirement that the city asked, or said, we're going to include this, so everybody's going to have to abide by it, is that there would be some space set aside for civic use. Whether that's a park, a rec center, police station, whether it's a new city hall. It is basically 2 spots on the property, one of which is on the south side of the road on a 2.5 acre tract that is very visible from the road and is very buildable. There are no constraints. We feel like that is a gem and would be a perfect partnership should the city decide to use it for something in a partnership arrangement with its development authority, should they ever create one, with another developer, actually in combination with Paulding County for a desired service. That one on the south side of the road is there visible. There is actually another civic space that we've set aside on the north side of the road to try to provide for some equal treatment. That's really going to be more park/green space. It is on the periphery of a protected waterway. And so we figured we're probably not going to want to put any kind of improvements there other than passive recreation.
I just want to know how we're using it. You're gifting it?
We could gift it. We could do a partnership. I think what we're doing
So
is
there's-
assuring.
Okay, there's nothing guaranteed of how this space is going to be used, but it's set aside for.
Yes, ma'am.
City of Hiram?
When and if the city of Hiram feels like they would like to do something, we're going to be your partner. Nothing's going on that property, and it could actually be deeded to the city, should this city desire such, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Derek, any questions? Doris? Tiffany? Bob?
No.
Okay, thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, discuss employee handbook updates and changes. Kathy?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to discuss our handbook that we're finally getting close to the finish line with. You originally received the entire handbook, and we're given the opportunity to look over it. The handbook, since that time, has been given to department heads for them to review, and the attachment that you received was changes that we've made. The first one, of course, was the organizational chart. The one that I had just put in the handbook was a filler that has been updated with the one that Jody had put together, and I believe y'all have reviewed with him already. Probationary period of employment, it just had some cleanup to the wording, as far as changing the certain vowels and stuff, verbs and stuff. Sections 407 and 711 were basically the same thing. One of them was that I put together during the process of putting the handbook over the several years, and then we implemented the alternative work schedule, so I just combined them both in section 407. We have changes to the 503, the attendance. It just gives a little bit more clarification in the instruction of requirements. If an employee is calling out or their absence, what's required of them. We also have the 504 dress and grooming standards. The word faded was removed, and then we changed on 504.04 from business, professional business work dress, we just put professional work dress. We also removed dress socks as part of the attire because the fashion nowadays is no socks or footies and stuff. So 504.05 was changing it to say casual work dress from business to casual. And then we updated on the grooming where it talks about tattoos and piercings.
I have a question
go
about
ahead.
that one. So, does that mean our police have to wear long sleeves in the summer?
No, that's why it was updated.
Okay.
The
I wanted
correct
to make sure.
terminology now is saying, in alignment with the city's commitment to maintaining professional image, employees who interact with the public are prohibited from displaying tattoos, body art, or body piercings that could be perceived
Right.
as defamatory, obscene, or discriminatory while performing their duties on behalf of the city.
Well, when I saw the word prohibited, I thought, whoa.
No, just the defamatory and stuff. Now, PD, in the past, years and years ago, prior to Chief Sailors, they did wear sleeves, and then they changed their SOPs to be reflective that they didn't have to wear those, as long as the tattoo was not discriminatory and stuff.
As long as the tattoo is not considered offensive to any other person or obscene, the officers who wear standard uniforms.
Okay.
It would be very difficult for somebody to be hired that possess those types of tattoos because it goes against our community standards.
Well, I just wondered because I know some people don't like tattoos at all, and they can be offended.
We cannot discriminate because a person has tattoos.
Right.
It's the types of tattoos they have that offend the community standards.
I wanted it to protect our officers that didn't
They're
have to
protected
wear.
under our certification, because
Okay.
certain state certification requires us to allow officers with tattoos.
Okay, thank you.
And that's why the word, the highlighted area is the way it's gonna word in the
Good.
handbook. In regards to section 507, which was the fraud, that is a policy that was already put in place by the mayor and council regarding our fraud policy. But we didn't have clear direction as far as what department heads were called, department heads, directors, administrators. So it was just changed to department management, and then every word where it was listed as directors was just changed to managers, so it'd be generalized. The travel policy was completely taken out of because currently that is being, going to be revised under the finance policy as far as regarding travel. Once that's redone, then we'll come back and adopt it for the handbook, once they redo it in the finance policy. Terminal pay, just specified a sentence was added as far as no PTO accrual is eligible for payout if employed less than 12 months. Because our current policy is if an employee leaves, they're allowed to be paid out their accrual up to a certain amount. And so this just basically added a clause that if they leave us prior to 12 months, that they lose all PTO, because normally PTO is effective immediately after 30 days. But for normal employment, you want them to at least last a year before they can just be paid out for it. And then also the employee completing 25 years, it was just reiterated as far as the number of years, and then the weeks equivalent to 12 weeks. Timekeeping procedures under section 610, all we did was add the classification of the non-exempt hourly or exempt salary positions, just to give a little bit more clarification. Section 611, it was just reworded to say payroll deductions for employee benefits instead of employee benefits and payroll. We took out the wording, anything that had to do with a dollar amount as far as the life insurance policy. It just stated that the city would cover life insurance policy up as approved by the council. So that way we wouldn't have an actual dollar amount in there, so if it changes. The flexible spending, we added the wording during open enrollment each year because they're getting stricter and stricter on that. We used to be at them during the year if we had a new hire, but that is only during open enrollment now. Section 611 is when we started talking about long-term disability, but based off of the previous approvals of replacing the long-term disability with the new accident policy, any wording throughout the handbook that referred to long-term disability, we removed. Employee separation, 617, the exit interview policy, that was per Ms. Bidel's request, the rewording of that. So that is something that I came up with that would give us a procedure as far as how the exit interviews are done, whether it be in person, by phone, or a questionnaire that would be sent to them. That information would be compiled, given to the city manager quarterly, and then he could supply confidential information back over to the council regarding a summary of answers. Section 703 was under eligibility, talking about paid holidays. Currently, right now, part-time employees that work consistently a schedule do not qualify for holiday pay if their scheduled day is a holiday. So we added the terminology that paid holidays are extended to all regular full-time employees and part-time that consistently work 20 hours or more per a set weekly schedule. Qualified part-time employees receive holiday pay if the holiday falls on their scheduled workday. And the reason that was added was because for our retirement eligibility, as long as an employee is working 20 consecutive or more hours a week on a set schedule, they qualify as an employee that qualifies for retirement. But their income gets deducted because they don't get holiday pay, like a full-time employee. So this was added for that purpose. Holidays, eligibility, once again, that was just specifying, again, adding about the part-time employees being qualified. PTO rules, we just removed some of the striked out words as far as what it says as far as purposes of vacations for certain departments. The wording in the old handbook was very restrictive as far as being allowed to take more than just a week at a time. 70406, the donation of PTO, we just added the words prior to use, which just clarifies the time restrictions where if someone donated PTO, they could revoke it or pull it back if they were to need it themselves. Section 705, the civic responsibilities. This section was removed completely upon the recommendations of our attorney regarding the witness duty and everything. 709, wage continuation. Once again, that's something that took the long-term disability out. Section 711, of course, was removed because it was combined with Section 407. Section 902, under Section 901.05, we changed the word salary to merit increases because that's what we've done for the last 2 years since we put the performance reviews. We refer to it as merit increase. So that was changed to be in conjunction to what we currently call it now. And then the last thing was those Section 1100, the written reprimand. All we did was we added about a signature by a witness if an employee refuses. So it just gives a little bit more clarification to the supervisor as far as what they need to do if an employee refuses to sign a write-up. And that is pretty much all the changes unless y'all have any other recommendations or anything like that. Do
Thank you.
you have any questions?
Questions? Thank you, Kathy.
All right, thank you.
Discuss amendment to the massage spa establishment. Jason?
Council members, at our last work session, there was a woman who was a licensed clinical social worker who presented to the council, and she had asked whether or not the council would consider creating an additional exemption to the city spa ordinance for licensed massage therapists who are employed by a licensed clinical social worker and providing therapy treatments in conjunction with the clinical social worker. I have looked at the ordinance. I have added in section 12-416E an additional exemption. I want to set out the character of the exemptions that are listed there first before we add licensed clinical social worker. Those are massage therapists that work for a medical doctor, an osteopath, a chiropractor, physical or occupational therapist, podiatrist, acupuncturist, registered or licensed practical nurse, and then the proposal is to add or licensed clinical social worker. Ms. Chosewood checked with the state licensing board for massage therapy, and don't let me put words in your mouth, but it sounded to me like the director of the board was understood and was in favor and could see a need for creating an exemption for the licensed clinical social workers.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Melissa.
Okay, thank you. New business. Discuss proposed memorandum of agreement by Georgia Department of Transportation of the Main Street Railroad crossing. Jody?
Yes, good evening, by the way. Received a call from Georgia DOT plus the MOA that's included in your packet, which is the memo of agreement, with a proposal for GDOT to take on full costs and installation responsibilities for doing a visible safety improvement to the Main Street crossing, which would create better lane delineation, more visible to the driving public, making sure people are maintaining their lanes as they go across the rail. They would pay for the installation. We would basically just be responsible for the upkeep of it thereafter. So you have before you the proposal. The total cost proposed by GDOT for their investment in this would be $16,935. And you can see sort of from that distance, the lane delineations would actually be three-dimensional because you would actually have high markers for cars to see both the entry point of their lane and the exit point of their lane. And it's just an effort on the part of GDOT to try to do some safety improvements in certain regions within Northwest Georgia in their district, and we're in District 6. So my recommendation is that you agree to it.
Any questions?
No, I just knew that they were gonna add solar-powered warning signage too.
Yes, it'll be something that doesn't require.
Is it like
electrical
those
connection.
signs that have the lights on them that
Yes.
flash? Okay,
Just to draw more attention to it.
okay.
Have what?
A participant wants to ask a question on an agenda item.
All I was gonna state was what he's talking about, if you don't know, go down Ingham Road, you can see them down there.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they are.
Okay.
Big poles sticking up in the middle of the road, in the center, on the center line.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Discuss the increase in the cost of, is this unfitting or upfitting there, Chief?
Upfitting.
Upfitting 5 police Explorers by $5,729.77 to be paid for by savings of unfitting 2 police vehicles. Chief?
If you remember, last year, we had 2 sets of cars that came before you. There were 2 cars that we were having outfitted or upfitted, which were existing patrol cars that were administrative cars being transferred to patrol use. Then we purchased 5 brand-new patrol cars, which you see sitting out here now. As those 5 cars were awaiting parts with the tariff increases, we continued to have increases as they came through. When we got to the final bills, we were over $5,729.77. We would like to offset that by the $39,000 that we saved on the 2 cars that were previously approved. We were able to upfit those cars for $39,000 less than the projected costs by salvaging equipment from other cars that had been wrecked. So with your permission, we would like to take this $5,000 and use the $39,000 to cover this $5,000 that is over.
Is that a trick question?
No, no, but it is, unfortunately, it's the way we're set up that we have to, because it is an overage, it has to come back to council.
That's a Jackie question.
And I do it just to make Jackie crazy.
Yes.
We have a question out here. Mr. Mayor, when we come back next Tuesday, will there be another public hearing on, Blue River?
No?
We only had one, I thought we had to have 2, but, I did, when will I be able to ask a question before I go?
This guy left.
Go ahead.
Well, it's not, it really doesn't have anything to do with that, it's just something that I think is odd, and I would just like to find out why it's taking place.
Well, what's taking place?
Uh,
Why, what's taking place?
Well, last week, on Monday night, the guy that spoke for Trayton, last Monday night, and answered the question, he was sitting back there tonight. But he's also, and I can't find out, he's also somehow part of Blue River too.
No, he's not.
Well, that's strange, man, strange. But that's okay, I just wanted to know the answer.
Thank you.
Try to find out, so anyway.
Okay.
Question,
Go ahead, Alan.
Jody, regarding the Main Street and the railroad, are they gonna do Main Street to the end of Main Street, like, past my house, on that side too? Or are they just counting on coming down
The
Because that other,
the only rail crossing that is legally in the city that we have jurisdiction over is the Main Street crossing at the downtown. The other Main Street crossing is actually a part of Paulding Unincorporated, so they would have to get permission from Paulding first. I don't know that they have even approached them yet. Hingham Road, right up to the Main Street, it kind of jogs, the boundary line jogs, and that little area there is unincorporated Paulding, and then as you turn on to Arnold,
but the actual crossing is still on Main Street.
it's right at the edge of it.
Both ways.
They haven't given me anything on Main Street yet.
Okay, we might wanna ask them about that, because that's dangerous there too, and there needs to be more lightage and
Certainly.
stuff. And something about, there's a small sign about, two wheels or whatever it is, two axle trucks, that's it, maximum. I'm telling you, you got semis coming down here all night long,
Yes, you do.
all night long, all day long.
Oh, they have that parking, place on Angle.
Yeah.
Got them coming down.
They're coming all day and all night.
A discuss enacting Freeport exemptions for Hiram Industries. Jody?
We are looking at the prospect of, or recommending that we look at adopting a Freeport exemption. It's very similar to a homestead exemption, something the council has already done preemptively, just as a property tax savings issue for residents. This is one that would be applicable only to certain industries within, that are existing within Hiram. We'd had several conversations with the tax assessor, Chief Assessor James Stokes, and he had recommended that that would be something that we would go ahead and put in place, whether you have a property tax or not, just to ensure that those industries that we have, and there's 3 different businesses that would be impacted by that. I think 2 of them are actually located inside the industrial park, so that if we were ever some future whatever, and you adopted a property tax, those exemptions would already be in place for protection of those businesses.
What made them meet the criteria for an exemption?
It's laid out in the,
I didn't have a chance, I just
oh,
got
that's
it.
fine.
Yeah. recently.
They have to be under certain identified industry businesses that the state of Georgia has identified. One of them is being in production or manufacturing, and most of that's gonna take place in your industrial parks. And we have, one
What
that-
benefit would we have as a city to not capitalize off the tax revenue off of businesses that are making profit in our city?
to ensure that you're putting measures in place to protect the jobs that are created by those industries. And again, it's only certain pigeonholed industries that would be impacted by it. It's recommended by the State Department of Revenue, and we're just going ahead and looking at the prospect of putting that in place.
Can you name the 3 businesses?
I can name one of them off the top of my head. I'm sorry, but Jerry L. Builders, which is off of Pogue Crossing, about 2 doors down, 2 stops down from the intersection at Duncan Circle. And I can't think of the other 2. Do you?
So are those 3 businesses different from every other business within the industrial area?
They are in that they're identified by class
Okay.
in this legislation. And again, it's something that it's been talked about before. We had the Department of Revenue actually reach out to the city of Dallas, according to the conversation we had had, and instructed them, you need to put this in place. So, I mean, it's just a preemptive thing on the part of Hiram to do so. And, I can entertain some more questions from you after the meeting if you like, but it's something that is recommended in order to help be business friendly in that type of industry. Yes.
If I can add to that, in answer to part of your question, when a city or a jurisdiction has a Freeport exemption, all right, so it's an exemption on the taxation of certain personal property. And let me just give you a flavor. This is recognized in state law. So it includes inventories of goods in the process of being manufactured or produced. It includes partly finished goods. The second category for Freeport exemption is inventories of finished goods that are waiting to go somewhere for shipment somewhere else. If they're made here, then this exemption to those goods would apply. It also applies to goods that are stored in warehouses here that are on their way to stimulate the economy somewhere else. And it also applies to fulfillment centers, your Amazon warehouses and things like that. It is if the issue on the agenda is whether or not the council wants to put on the referendum, have a referendum in November to have the citizens of Hiram vote as to whether or not they want to allow a Freeport exemption for the 4 different categories of goods. If you vote to allow it, then it'll be put on the ballot, and if it passes by the citizenry of Hiram, then those exemptions would be available in the event of a future tax situation.
Okay, so as an example only, Dallas Millworks, they make the windows, they store them there. That would be someone who would benefit from the inventory.
Yes.
Okay, I just,
One of the ideas from an economic development standpoint, and forgive me if I already said this, when businesses are looking to locate, one of the things they're going to ask is whether or not there's a Freeport exemption in that jurisdiction. Because if there's not, that's a check against it.
Thank you.
Discuss the millage rate for the 2025 tax year. Jody?
Get down to that. What you have in your packet is what I present annually to mayor and council, which is, shows the current 2025 tax digest and the 5-year history of levy. And you will notice, really, if you want to cut to the chase, go to the bottom of that form, and you will see net tax percent increase is 0. Millage rate set to 0, about 4 lines up. It says net M&O millage. Hiram has been doing this for decades now.
42
There's no
years.
indication at either the retreat or the budget hearing that we would be doing anything aside from this for this year. So it's the reason why you have in front of you, based on our discussion, a proposal for a 0 mill.
Questions? There you go. Discuss the 2026 increase to GMA's Blue Cross Blue Shield Anthem coverage for employees. Kathy?
Hello, once again. I want to backtrack real quick back to the handbook. I forgot to mention something that any vote that goes regards to the handbook for changes or anything, I'm requesting that they don't go into effect until October 1st. That allows us time to do educational classes for the employees and everything. So I just wanted to make sure it wasn't a vote of an effective immediate change. The other part of I'm up here for is our Blue Cross Blue Shield. They came and sat with Jody and I and evaluated where our premiums would be for this year. We did incur a 5% increase, which was less than what we've incurred over the last couple of years. And since we've been with GMA a complete 2 years now, they sat with us, and one of the things they evaluated was our premium amounts. So what I've given you here is a spreadsheet showing what our current premiums are for 2025 and what the projected rates for 2026 are with the 5% increase. One of the things they pointed out to us is that because of, we never really have changed the breakdown as far as percentages from the premiums since we left Anthem that was under another carrier to GMA. When we left NFP and went to GMA, we never really changed the deciding factors of the percentages, employee plus employer portions. So they recommended that we give a little bit more of a level of separation as far as premiums go in regards to the lower deductible plan versus the middle and the higher deductible plan. So the proposal, as you see, with the 5% increase, the $2,000 deductible plan, we passed on a 1% increase to the employee and a 4% to the employer. A 2.5% increase both ways, employee-employer on the $1,500, and then the $750 deductible to give a little bit more area of separation for employees. We passed the full 5% on to the employee side and 0% to the council. Over the last couple of years, the increases have been absorbed 100% by the employer, and I felt at this time, with us having a good measurement of how GMA benefits were working for us, and we feel comfortable with the deductible plans, that we needed to get some type of actual separation, good percentage-wise, for any future increases that we may incur.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, while you're there, Kathy,
Oh, that's
don't run
right.
away. Discuss the Christmas holiday office hours.
So last year, we had Monday, and then Christmas Eve was Tuesday, Christmas Day was Wednesday. Christmas Eve and Christmas Day are our official city holidays, and we have had passed during the half a day official city closure at 12:30 the day before Christmas Eve and the day before Thanksgiving. Last year, y'all were gracious enough to allow the city manager to declare a full day on Monday as an official city closure. And I'm requesting, because of it being a Wednesday, Thursday holiday, we waive the half a day on Tuesday and work a full day on Tuesday and declare Friday as a full official city closure day for employees. So that way, we don't hit this cycle again for another almost 7 years. But that will eliminate that one day after or before the holiday like we experienced this past year. So that's our recommendation that we're requesting that you approve, eliminating the half a day on the day before Christmas Eve, and then just doing the full day official city closure on that Friday.
Questions?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. Discuss municipal separate storm sewer system contractor. Cliff?
Mr. Mayor and Council, this is exactly in line with the stormwater. We've had an existing environmentalist for, I know, the 10 years that I've been working for the city, and it might be almost 20 years. We're choosing now to go with a professional engineering firm, RINDT, R-I-N-D-T, who has assisted the city with many other projects as far as the engineering. But this is the environmental piece that they do as well. We have been very satisfied with the quality of work and the employees that RINDT has worked with the city, myself and Jody. So we are choosing now to go from our existing MS4 contractor to this new one. And just to let you know, this will be slightly more than the existing one that we have. But after speaking with, I'm going to say Jody and Chief and a couple other people, that extra cost is worth it.
How much is slightly?
It's about $10,000.
Questions?
Was this put out on an RFP?
It's a professional service, it's not required to go out as an RFP or an RFQ.
Thank you, Cliff.
Yes, sir.
Review the consent agenda.
Okey dokey. Item number 1, which is the rezoning, that will be new business. Item 2, the handbook changes, just because it is so comprehensive, I put new business. Item number 3, that amendment to the massage spa establishment ordinance, consent. Item 4, the MOA with GDOT, consent. Item number 5, for the unfitting, we'll fix that, I don't consent. The Freeport exemptions, I put as new business. The millage rate, actually, we'll have to do some advertising, so that won't be set just yet. The increase to the coverage for GMA's Blue Cross Blue Shield, consent. The Christmas holiday office hours changes, consent. And the MS4 contractor, consent.
Okay, thank you. September 2nd, 2025, the regular session will be at 6 p.m. here at the Municipal Annex. We will be entering into an executive session after this, and we will adjourn from the executive session. Derek, you got anything? Melissa?
Surprise.
Nothing today.
No fever,
Yours?
nothing.
No.
Bob? Nope. I have a motion to enter into an executive session.
I'll make a motion to enter into the executive session to discuss sale of property and personnel.
I'll second.
All in favor? All opposed? Thank you.